Uncensored cuts of Indian films on Netflix will no longer be available around the globe, considering Netflix was possibly the last streaming service in India to continue to show the original uncut version before it went under the CBFC knife. The change in their policy is highly significant. Of late, the Central Board of Film Certification has started blacking out any scenes that criticizes those in power. This news that Netflix has also started applying the CBFC's censorship policy to all Indian films on its platform is a worrying development. SoSouth comments on whether this could have far-reaching consequences for artistic expression in India.
The Central Board of Film Certification, specifically them, they should have absolute zero power to censor anything on OTT, because as it is, I feel like they've ruined, censorship on a whole. The perception of censorship has been ruined because of the moves they've taken on most films.
We have to ask questions. Who is censoring and what are they censoring? What is their motive?
So when it comes to politics, or when it comes to caste, or when it comes to religion, the hot topics of the Indian society and the fodder for a lot of, easily anybody gets triggered on the internet, in the current day. So when it comes to these three areas, I feel that censorship should prevail on OTT platforms.
Censoring becomes biting on your artistic freedom, and I think creative liberty is sacred. If you modify something that an artist has created, I think it kills the art. And then when you kill the art, the artist no longer exists. It's just a person. I don't think we need to live in a world sans art, sans artists.
I think it's like a blindfold to the public. Like, as we Indians were so hammered in our heads to not watch certain scenes which may be inappropriate or which has maybe vulgarity or profanity or obscenity, any of that sort. We know OTT platforms for streaming original content, which is uncensored, uncut. And now I feel like this particular move can give a lot of control to the board on what we're allowed to watch and what we're not allowed to watch. So I don't think that's okay.
When an artist or art has boundaries, how can we consider it as an art? That is my first question I have to ask when we are censoring something. I think definitely the the movies which are going to release in OTT platform should not be censored. That's what I feel.
It is all agenda driven. It's not really, them trying to protect some content. If that was the case, why would they chop out so many important scenes from films which are actually certified for adults? Even there they chop out scenes, and I feel like if they are given this liberty to meddle with OTT content, it wouldn't be long before hits the fan.
I have different opinion when it comes to different content that we're talking about. Let's say it's about really sensitive topics like politics or religion or caste. The content that comes out, be it on the cinema theater or on the OTT platforms, they're very impressionable on the minds of viewers. Because not everybody in India has the maturity, rather, to differentiate between what's real and what's real. So keeping, why cause riot or why cause disturbance? So when it comes to really sensitive topics, for example, what happened with Oh My God 2, which starred Akshay Kumar, a film about sex education, and that had Akshay Kumar portray the Hindu deity, Lord Shiva, a very sensitive topic. And why would one want to cause a lot of disturbance and a lot of riots just for a silly movie?
Who decides what is harmful? I think OTT is very personal. It allows me to choose what I want to see.
First, defining harmful content, it differs from people to people, from filmmakers to filmmakers. So again, and how are you going to protect people from censoring harmful content? I don't know, because OTTs are not just the platform which is exposed to people right now in this digitalized era. First thing, if they want to get harmed or to get lost, whatever, they can have any other platforms for that matter. Let's say Telegram is one example. YouTube is another big example for that.
So when OTT and giants like Amazon and Netflix came to India, it gave filmmakers a power to showcase their art without being censored. We already had censor board existing, and the censor board took calls on what stuff to take out, what stuff to keep. So there was this hindrance in creative freedom of filmmakers, is what I believe. And when, like I said, Netflix and Amazon came to India, they gave a ray of hope to these filmmakers that they could, bring out art as it is without being cut down or without being, without the censor board taking a call in it. So I think that it should have just continued the way it was, because I'm sure people are loving the content that filmmakers are putting out there on these OTT platforms, and that's why Netflix and Amazon and Amazon Prime and all of these OTT platforms are stuck on India, and they have a great market in India. I think that's the reason why.
As a dancer, if somebody tells me not to do something because it's vulgar or it's provocative, I don't know what to do, because that's how I'm feeling some type of music. So if a content creator or a producer or a music director is asked to change the way they're portraying things, I think they have every right to show it the way they want it to be seen. A story needs to be told, and sometimes everybody needs to hear the stories that people have to tell.
Censorship usually comes with a lot of caveats, and when we talk about censoring in a large scale masses, in theaters it makes sense because there is a wide range of audience and controlling the audience could be a difficult task. But when it comes to OTT platform, one of the things that the freedom or the artistic freedom that a lot of directors, including my favorite director Vetrimaran, once used to say that if I want to use a particular word, I want to use the word, because it is not because I want to polish my film, it is because I want to show it in its truest form. In that case, censoring art in OTT platforms is yet again a move to control or tighten the choke around the neck of artistic freedom.
When it comes to political topics, let's say about religion or caste or even politics, we are living at a time when agenda has just trumped morality and narrative has trumped what's truth. So when it comes to politics, I think one should be really wary of what comes out, be it in the cinemas or be it on the OTT platform, because the same viewer that consumes content in the theaters is also going to consume that content on OTT as well. It's the same public that we are talking about, and we are having this discussion at a time when people get almost triggered by anything and everything that comes out for consumption. So when it comes to politics, why cause a riot or why cause a protest or why should we cause disturbance just for a silly movie? So I think when it comes to politics and really sensitive matters around that topic, censorship should prevail, be it on the cinemas or be it on the OTT platform.
I think if you censor something for political reasons, it's because you don't want somebody in power to see what, or somebody in power does not want everybody else to see what you're creating. So if somebody in power cannot take criticism, or not everything you do can be good. There are some flaws that need to be pointed out, and if you found movies or art to be the means in which you portray the criticism, so I'm all for your freedom ends where somebody else's nose begins, but people have started putting their nose everywhere, so you can't create anymore. And I don't think so much restriction is not the best.
I think it's very scary. Political doesn't mean the person who is only in power or who are bureaucrats, and there are already people are already gatekeeping us and the people about the information that we need to get.
Again, there's just too much agenda in this country where everything is politics, and it is very tiring. Because if you're going to watch a film, more often than not, it is in your leisure time. Many people are working, they have their own stress in life, and it is for their leisure they go and watch a film, irrespective of the kind of films they like to consume. So even if you go there and there too it is politics, it's just very tiring and actually sad when you speak about it. If you can't get away from politics,
it challenges people in their questioning of authority to the authority or the elected representatives. And I think censorship based on politics shows a very one-sided picture on, and where it's on borders on the propaganda.
Art is politics. Everything can be seen from a political perspective, and there needs to be awareness created in terms of politics in this country, is what I feel.
Historically, there has been censorships everywhere. Like if you go through history, censorships has been a major part of every government, every ruling party, every authoritarian, every fascism, every aristocratic systems. So which means every fall was like, before every fall there was this strict control over some sort of artistic freedom, and that control was never a good thing for the people, and it was never for the government, because people are inherently forced, or there is a need for the human tendency to express. So every time there is some sort of a chokehold on artistic freedom, it is going to blast open at some point. So I think censoring at any point for any government has never worked out well. This happened, the same thing happened in Nazism too.
This whole thing of censorship came from the British. It is somewhat, colonized. The British started this trend of censorship in India because they didn't want people to watch films or movies or any sort of art if it, propagated this idea of freedom and independence, and any means to propagate the freedom struggle done by Indian leaders were curbed through censorship by the British. And I think that sense has carried on, where even governments who are under control, because the union government has the power to censor films, they've continued this trend of controlling information, controlling all these aspects that can be put across through movies and cinema and other sorts of art. They've come up with this central board of film certification to curb information from propagating, and they're also being just as British as they were. They're the new colonizers, I guess.
There have been political movies brought out, and there have been content, political content that has been brought out, but only when it comes to only when it comes to content that is critical of the current government, it has been cut out. Why do that? And also we have seen that content that hurts religious sentiments have been taken out. So I feel like platforms shouldn't have been affected by this. It's certainly creative freedom which is there, and people must be able to put it out there. So again, censor board interfering in this does not make sense, because OTT was brought for the reason that filmmakers can showcase their art without being interfered into.
Political reasons, I feel it's a very debatable topic, because so far, let's say right from the early 50s, that's where all this censoring started. That time all the political movie censoring for political reasons was not there at all. That's what at least I know, according to my knowledge anyway. And coming in this digitalized area, I feel like censoring have taken into a place where everything have been looked upon for people and power and everything. So again, when it comes to censoring for political reasons, I personally feel like it's not needed, because it depends on the freedom of filmmakers, expression and everything. Yeah.
If movie where we tell stories is also censored, is also politicized, then my question is, who are you to decide what should we watch? What should we get informed about?
Censorship has always been part of an authoritarian government. So one has to be wary when someone says that you shouldn't watch something. There is some discussions are part of democracy, not control.
Yes, I do. I do think that streaming services should give people access to uncensored content, because that is the purest form of art that the filmmaker has put out from his heart. I think that needs to be given some credit, because there is no one else's interference. It is all the filmmaker's passion, be it a series or a film.
They should be allowed to show uncensored versions of films. It's personal watching. It makes sense to put censored content on theater or on TV, but this is personal consumption. I choose what I want to watch, and if the creator has the choice to decide how far can I show to how far can I go to show something, I think the viewer also can decide how far they can watch something. Or
there is a lot of gray area to that question. When we're talking about uncensored version, what is it that we're talking about? Are we talking about religion based that portrays one particular religion in a bad light, or are we talking about vulgar content? What I think that, we should have different rules, like I mentioned before, for different types of content that comes out on OTT platform, because the current public that we are talking about, very impressionable, and nobody wants a disturbance, or nobody wants fight or animosity to be caused between different sections of the society, because we're always divided by almost anything and everything. But I think at least in entertainment, let's not cause let's not allow a movie to cause disturbance, is what I'm trying to say.
I have different takes on this. OTT platforms showing uncensored stuff is fine because that has been the case till now, and I don't see much of a problem with it. I can't imagine a version that would affect me if things are censored, and I know that a lot of things are out there that would make something better, but is kept away just because someone finds it offensive. But yes, offense is a big thing. People would find offensive, but that is where warning comes in. I would prefer if warnings were present instead of censoring stuff, because people need the choice to decide what to watch and what not to watch. Why should someone else decide what I need to watch? So that is, in my opinion, problematic.
When it comes to when we see in the perspective of artists and the people who create an art, they will have their own story to tell. They will make the movie in their particular way, or the experience that they have been through. So we are nobody to judge or decide that what they have gone through is wrong. So yeah, that's why
There are stories and there are content which have a lot of authenticity, and to maintain that, I think content should be allowed to be uncensored and uncut and should be streamed originally. And also it gives the director the creative expression, and I think it will limit, if this were to be if it were censored, I think it limits the creative expression of the director's story, film, whatever it may be, film or OTT series.
A brilliant example in terms of a third party interfering and spoiling the whole film is the Justice League film by the DC Universe, which got spoiled in the first take, but then it became a supreme hit when the director's cut was released.
This is a little debatable, I feel. When there is, content differs for everything, for everyone actually. So something that is, violent to me might not be violent to you. So something that is gore for me might not be gore for you. So this is a debatable topic, I feel.
I understand that there might be, some scenes or whatever that a filmmaker tries to put out. His expression might not be very, healthy for other people, but I think that choice has to be given to the people to choose. If you want to watch it, if you want to give that due credit to the filmmaker, you should be able to, and no third person should be restricting you from it.
OTT platforms gave the opportunity for people to watch what they want, and I think that should be continued.
See, again, coming to OTT side and everything, people always have that liberty to watch and not watch whatever they feel like. So I don't think there is a need of it at all. Yeah.